Hey, welcome back. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is Echoes of the Ancients. So, I was walking through Washington Square Park the other day, and I saw a street performer with this incredible, elaborate puppet show. And it got me thinking about a very different kind of street performance, one that was common for centuries across Europe. Imagine, instead of a puppet, it's a massive, living bear. A creature of deep woods and wild mountains, standing on its hind legs, swaying to the beat of a drum, led by a chain through its nose by a traveling showman. It's an image that feels almost mythical, a bizarre collision of the wild and the civilized. But it was real, and the story of how this practice began isn't where you might think. It doesn't start on a dusty medieval road. It starts in a sacred grove. The bear, for many ancient European peoples, wasn't just an animal. It was a deity, an ancestor, a king of the forest. Among the Norse, the bear was sacred to Odin. For the Finns and the Sami, it was a revered spiritual being, its flesh consumed in ritual feasts to absorb its strength, its skull placed high in a tree to ensure its spirit returned. The Slavic peoples had their bear god, Veles. In these cultures, the line between human and bear was thin. Berserkers, the legendary Norse warriors, were said to wear bear pelts to channel the animal's fury. This was a creature of immense power and sacred dread. So how do we get from that to a dancing bear on a rope? The transition is a story of cultural conquest and assimilation. As Christianity spread north and east across Europe, it systematically worked to dismantle the old pagan beliefs. And a powerful, widely worshipped animal god was a prime target. The church couldn't just erase the bear from the cultural imagination. It was too big, literally and figuratively. So, it began a long campaign to diminish it. The bear was demoted from a divine being to a demonic one, a symbol of brute sin, of chaos, of the devil himself. Saints' legends are filled with tales of holy men taming or slaying bears, a clear metaphor for the church taming the pagan wilderness. By stripping the bear of its sacred status, you made it available for a new role, not a god to be worshipped, but a beast to be dominated, controlled, and put on display. The ritual bear of the forest became, slowly, the captive bear of the village. And that's where we find them in the medieval records. Not as gods, but as property. Bear baiting became a monstrously popular spectacle in towns, setting dogs upon a chained bear for public entertainment. But alongside that brutal spectacle, a quieter, stranger tradition emerged, the dancing bear. These bears were usually brown bear cubs, captured in the wilds of Eastern Europe or the Alps. Their training was, as you can imagine, brutal. They would be placed on a heated metal plate, and as music played, they would lift their paws to avoid the burn. The dance was a pain response, conditioned over time. The showman, often from marginalized traveling communities like the Roma, would then lead these bears from town to town, village to village. They became a common sight at fairs, markets, and pilgrimages. The bear would lumber to its feet, sway to a simple drum or pipe, and perform clumsy tricks. People would toss coins. It was exotic, it was thrilling, a touch of the dangerous wild brought safely to heel for your amusement. But you have to wonder, looking at this spectacle, what did the medieval audience really see? I think they saw a layered story. On the surface, yes, it was simple entertainment, a curiosity. But just beneath that, it was a potent symbol of human triumph over nature. In a world where the wilderness was still a very real and threatening place, seeing this powerful king of the forest subdued, made to dance, it reinforced a social order. It said, look what we can do. We can take the most powerful thing out there and make it perform for us. And deeper still, in their cultural memory, there might have been a faint echo of the old rituals. The bear was still a special creature, a magnet for attention. The act of circling it, watching it move to music, maybe it unconsciously echoed the old reverence, even as its context had been utterly inverted. The sacred ritual had become a street act, but a shadow of its former power still lingered in the collective gaze. For me, Ibnul, an engineer and storyteller living in the 21st century, this history hits in a particular way. It's a stark lesson in how technology, not just tools, but the technology of ideas, can repurpose a symbol. Christianity, in this context, was a kind of social and spiritual technology. It didn't just ban the old ways, it actively repurposed the old symbols. draining them of one meaning and injecting them with another. The bear was spiritually rebranded, and the physical technology of control, the chain, the nose ring, the heated plate, then made that rebranding a physical reality. It's a pattern we see again and again in history, and honestly, in the modern tech world. Something powerful and organic is identified, its original meaning is stripped or altered by a new system, and it's commodified into a safer, more controllable form. The dancing bear is a medieval example of a very modern concept, the disruption and repackaging of a legacy asset. The practice, heartbreakingly, endured for a very, very long time. It wasn't until the late 20th and early 21st centuries that serious animal welfare laws across Europe finally brought it to an end. The last known dancing bears in Europe were rescued and rehabilitated in the early 2000s. That means this tradition, born from the ashes of pagan worship, persisted for well over 1,000 years. Its end wasn't brought about by a new religion, but by a new ethics. A changing relationship with the natural world, where domination is no longer the only story we tell. So the next time you see a street performer, or any kind of spectacle that mixes the natural world with human entertainment, think of that long, strange journey. From the silent, sacred groves where a bear was a god, to the raucous medieval marketplace where it was a dancing prisoner, and finally to the wildlife sanctuaries where, we hope, it can just be a bear again. It's an echo that reminds us that the way we treat the powerful creatures and ideas of our world is never just simple entertainment. It's always a reflection of who we are, what we believe we control, and what we've chosen to forget. Thank you for listening to this episode of Echoes of the Ancients. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who'd appreciate a dive into the unexpected corners of history. For more from me, Ibnul J. Farabi, and the whole team, visit our production home at Light Not Studios. https://www.lightnotstudios.com. Until next time, take care.